So guys, so we get a question from Harsha Malavali, and their message reads, "Hey Chew, I have a question for you. Was there ever a time for you that you lost your passion for jiu-jitsu, and if so, how did you reignite it?" Harsha, thank you for the question. And I want to make sure, because I don't write this stuff down, but the way that I think I'm going to structure this video, you're talking about passion. Let's get a working definition of passion first. So the definition for passion, when I search it up in Google, is strong and barely controllable. It's emotion. So it's an emotion that you can barely contain. It's so strong, like it's just bursting out of you. And if that's the definition for passion, I don't think that I've felt passion consistently, like day in, day out, for a long period of time since I was like a white belt. Right? And for you guys watching this, you might be like, oh my God, how is that possible? How are you not passionate about jiu-jitsu all the time? Well, because I love it. I enjoy doing it. But if we're talking about a barely controllable emotion, that's not something I feel every single day. So kind of getting into it, if you look at the way that jiu-jitsu starts off, it runs kind of parallel to like a relationship with a person romantically, right? Like in the beginning of a relationship, a lot of times you meet this person for the first time and you start to date them and it's so exciting. There's so much mystery to it. You have these, again, barely controllable emotions of excitement for this person. You can't get enough of them. Same thing with your training in jiu-jitsu. A lot of times people come in the beginning, they're so excited, it's so new, there's so much mystery to it, so much that you're learning. And again, it's almost this barely controllable emotion. And then in both cases, eventually things kind of simmer down to a little bit more of a normal sort of feeling, right? You have ups and downs, but again, it's a little bit more normal, a little bit more controllable. And at that point, that's where you really figure out if you love this stuff, right? Like if with a person, you figure out if you love that person. After the excitement wears down, you get to see them for who they really are. And you get to see, like, do I really love this person or was I just excited? And then with the jiu-jitsu, you get to come into a place, and even though you're not as passionate as you used to be and things are a little bit more normal, you get to figure out if you love having sweaty people try to wrap their arms around your neck and try to tug on your joints, right? And again, then you find an intrinsic reason why you love doing this stuff or why you love that person. And I just want to make sure we're clear about that, because I've had a lot of like blue belts and purple belts come in and feel like they're in a funk or feel down about it or feel bad about themselves because they feel like they don't have the passion that they used to. I've had one conversation with a blue belt once where he was kind of feeling bad about training, and I asked what was wrong, and he said, man, I'm not as passionate as I used to be about training. And he was comparing his passion to that when he was a brand new white belt. And I was like, bro, you're never going to feel like that again. That's the newness, right? It's never going to feel that way because it's not as new as it was, right? But things can still be beautiful. They can still be amazing in their own ways, but things are going to change. And we as people, we're always changing. Like if you're watching this video, you're a different person from the time you started watching this video to now. Right? You've changed a little bit. We're always changing constantly. And so you can't expect things to be the same. And if you look back at that passion that you used to have, nostalgically, it's going to get you in trouble because you're going to be comparing. And you can't do that. And I just want to make sure we're not doing that, right? Because you may not be doing that. You may be using the word passion in a different sense. I just want to make sure we're not doing that. Now, that said, there are times where, again, I'm more excited for training, right? And I have these flickers of passion. And then there's times where I'm just kind of in a rut, right? Just like everybody else. We all get there sometimes. And there's two things I'll share with you today that I think might be helpful to you to kind of get you out of that complacency rut. So just like a relationship, one of the worst things that you can do is just kind of get into a routine with each other and never do anything new, never have any new experiences, right? I know that for my girlfriend and I, whenever we do something new together, right? We'll go on a trip to some city we haven't been together before. We'll go to some new restaurants, just do something brand new together. And whenever we do that, we come back and there's just this excitement that we have together, this shared excitement that we have with one another, right? Kind of brings back, it gives us a little flicker of that passion that we used to have when we first met each other, right? And jiu-jitsu is kind of the same way. You can give yourself a little flicker of passion, inject a little bit in there when you start trying new techniques. Maybe you find like a video series online that you buy, or maybe you go to YouTube, or maybe you talk to your coach to get some techniques, whatever it is. You bring some newness into your game. You try something new. And then all of a sudden you start working on this stuff for a little bit, and all of a sudden you're hitting people with these brand new techniques. You're getting this new submission that you just been practicing for a while, and it creates that excitement for a while, right? And that's one way to do it. That's something I do a lot. Another thing is that you can give yourself a self-imposed break from jiu-jitsu. I know that anytime I have space away from my girlfriend, like whenever I have to go away on a trip or something for like a few days to a week or something, as soon as I see her, I'm so excited. I missed her so much, right? I'm so excited to see her because there was space, there was time away from one another. And with jiu-jitsu, it's very much the same way, right? Like if you have you ever talked to someone who has an injury, right? And how much they miss being on the mats, right? They could be the same person that was talking about how they're just kind of going into the gym and like grinding away, but they're a little bit tired, and all of a sudden, boom, it's been taken away from them, and they can't wait to get back. Have you seen that before? You've probably been there before, maybe even, right? Well, you can give yourself a self-imposed break. Instead of waiting to get injured, you can just say, listen, I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to take a week off, and I'm going to come back on this day. And during that week, because I've done this, I actually did this recently to kind of share with you. About 4 weeks ago, I was working on some stuff for our beginners classes, and I just had to get it done. And so I took a week off from training. I trained like once that week between Monday and Friday. And during that time, I did the stuff for the beginners class. I did a little bit of light lifting. I did some sauna sitting, and I did long walks, just a lot of resting and just a lot of relaxing. And I came back the following week, and I felt fantastic. And during that time where I was resting, I had some new stuff that I was working on. So I basically had it all lined out. This is what I want to work on for my game. This is what I want to share with the class. And we got after it. And all that newness combined with that rest brought back all that passionate feelings for a moment, right? It wasn't constant, but it made things a lot more exciting in the gym, and it made me more excited to be there, and kind of like, again, helped rejuvenate me. So again, one of those things that you might try to do is either bring some new stuff in, or you might try to give yourself a little bit of a break away from training, then come back to it and see how you feel. Or combine them both like I did about 4 weeks ago, and I guarantee you something good's going to come from that. And again, that's what I would do. Those are the two things I do the most often when I hit those complacency ruts. But make sure, and I just share this with anyone that's kind of like in that first few years of their training, make sure that you don't become too attached to that like passion that you used to feel when you were like a brand new white belt, because it's never going to come back. It's not the way it is. It's not the way it works, right? You're now in the grinding slog, right? You got to embrace that suck. You got to enjoy it, and you got to find an intrinsic reason as to why you come in and you do this stuff over and over again. So anyway, guys, hope this video helps you. And Harsha, thank you so much for the question.